So welcome to Broadcast Show, episode 2. Every week between the monthly live shows that we do, we're going to be doing a shorter pre-recorded show like this, concentrating on either a product or a couple of products that we think you may find of interest. Now, on the last live show, there was a lot of interest about the Presonus 1642 mixers that we were talking about. And today, what we thought we'd do is we'll concentrate a little bit more on the Presonus range of mixers. So I've got Chaz here again from Source Distribution. Hi, Chaz. We're going to go over the Presonus range of mixers that we briefly talked about on the live show. Yep. So tell us a little bit about what mixers they provide, a little bit of history about Presonus as a company.
Okay, well, they're American company, and initially they were known for interfaces, Firewire, USB things, these kinds of boxes, plug them into your computer, sound in and out. And then 2-3 years ago they came out with this 1642 mix that we have in front of us. It's actually one of a range of 3, so there's a smaller one which we've also got here, the 1602, and there's a larger one which we don't have here today, 24 into 4 into 2. And the philosophy was they wanted to have a digital mixer where you didn't have to dig into menus all the time to do stuff. They wanted everything to have a dedicated hardware control. And the trick, well, the thing they've used to get around that is a very, very nice piece of design. It's what they call the fat channel. Across the middle, you've got a set of controls, hardware controls, everything, EQ, dynamics, gate and so forth, assigning what outputs you want. And whichever channel you select, all the input channels, submixes, auxiliary, those controls then apply to that channel. So that fat channel is available for everything on the desk, every input channel, every auxiliary out and so forth. It also works as an interface. I mean, the name Studio Live, I suppose, is a bit of a clue. The idea is you can use it in a studio by, as we've got here, hooking it up by Firewire to a Mac or a PC, or just standalone as a live mixer, TV, broadcast, whatever. Row of buttons across the top decides whether each channel is listening to what comes in to the input channels or whether it's listening to what comes back from the computer. It's got everything on it. You can imagine getting into a desk. If you had all this as hardware, you'd have that entire wall of compressors, gates, limiters, EQs and so on. Onboard effects, you can set delays on the subs. Amazing amount of features.
So, I mean, there are other digital mixers out there.
There are, absolutely, yes.
One of the differences then with the Presonus is the way that they've tackled the control over the different functionality. So I know from experience that there are mixers, digital mixers, whereby if you wanted to control an aux1 send, you would switch to an aux mode on the menu, and then your faders would become the aux send controls. And you would choose this to that aux, and all that lot.
Which messes up your faders.
Which messes up your faders, so you'd have to have motorised faders, and then you'll be constantly flicking through, trying to remember what layer you're on and what your faders constantly controlling. Now on this board, the faders are what they're designed to be, which is just the main mix faders or your subgroup faders. And so the fat channel here is effectively your control over your channel strip, for example, your EQ, and all the other functionality. So you can always use these. So,
but those rotary controls also do your aux send. So if I go to the mix button for a particular auxiliary, in this case auxiliary 1, all these become the send levels for the associated channel into that aux. So it's as quick as hitting that button and then going somewhere else.
And with the LEDs, you can see. Okay, you've got a lot more more channel 4 into aux1. You can put up a bit of channel 10, pull it down. You can see very easily what's going on. So this fat channel is the sort of the unique part about these Presonus mixers. I mean, I don't know any other mixer that works this way.
No.
So I mean, what we can do is, I suppose, because one other advantage, as you say, about the linking it to, obviously we've got a PC, a laptop here, is with the Firewire cable you get all 16 channels plus others.
Well, yes. I mean, it's sort of 32, 18, 2 ways. All kinds of things. So you've also got talk back and mono sends and
so all those effectively can be sent to individual tracks onto a piece of recording software. They
Yep.
provide one.
They provide two. What you've got running there is actually very, very popular. It's the simplest piece of recording software you can imagine. It's called Capture.
Yep.
It's just like a tape machine. You've got your 16 tracks there that line up with these 16 channels. On
Yep.
a 24 channel mixer, it would be 24. And you hit record, what goes into the desk gets recorded. You hit play in the software, and what's been recorded gets played out. So you don't have to kind of study it to learn how to use it. But they also do a fully featured DAW called Studio One. Comes free with all these bits of kit, which is the same as Cubase, Logic, and so on. Same sort of philosophy with Studio One, though. They've made it very easy to use. It's all about drag and drop.
Yep.
You don't have to go and learn loads of sub-menus and things.
So you mentioned Capture. We've got it open here. What we can do, they provide a demo piece of music. I suppose one advantage of it, I've been having a little play, is that, as you say, you can choose whether this input at the top here is either the mic or line input on the back, or the equivalent Firewire channel coming in, so 1 to 16. So as you can record onto this screen all 16 channels effectively raw as they came into the desk, you can play them out and remix if you wanted to.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Record the gig and then play it back to the band through the desk, doing a quick bit of mixing on the fly.
So if I turn that down, let's hit play. So hopefully you're getting a little bit of audio, and you can see on the fat channel we've selected, or Chaz has selected the input.
Yeah, these LED meters show you all sorts of different things.
Yep.
So yes, this is showing input, that's showing you output, gain reduction.
So unlike a lot of analog mixers, whereby if you want to find what the input level is, you're having to hit a PFL button and then look up to a meter up here, make sure that's right. On here, you can see all 16 channels without having a big meter strip at the top of what's coming in.
And there's a lot of other things that come with digital kit. So for instance, if you've got a bunch of settings on the fat channel and gain goodness knows what on a channel that you really like, there's full copy and paste facilities, so you can just say, right, take everything I've done with this channel, stick it on that channel. There's a piece of software called Virtual Studio Live, which I see you've also got running there.
We have indeed.
So that mirrors on the computer what you've got going on the desk. All the changes you do on the desk happen to that piece of software as well, and you can save a scene on the desk, import it to the computer, and vice versa. All very drag and drop as well.
Gotcha. So I don't know whether we can see this. There we go. So this is the they call it a universal control. Is it? VSL.
Virtual Studio Live.
Virtual Studio.
Universal control is just the drivers for any of their
Virtual
interfaces.
And if we have a look, you can see it literally mimics the board. You can see all the input levels as you move sliders up and down. Everything moves on here. We've got control over, obviously, labeling the track. If we mute something, it mutes on literally remote control of the studio from the system. So if we quickly look over it, I mean, what you can see here is you've got a quick overview of each of the dynamics that are set on the 16 channels. So you can see we've got a graphical representation of compression, whether it's got noise gate activated, and a rough EQ. But we can also go into that, can't we, a little bit more detail?
Click on one and you get the full... You get exactly the same as you get on the desk, laid out a little differently, obviously, but same level of control, whether it's on there or on the desk.
Now, what I particularly liked was, for example, here we've got the EQ, and then if I adjust the EQ, you can actually see it adjusting graphically before you.
And vice versa.
And
you can click and drag
and
we
can move it around here as we wish as well, and EQ graphically, and it's still updating the desk. So tied in with the desk, it's incredibly powerful as to what you can do as far as dynamics.
It's worth stressing, I mean, yes, it's got all this great interfacing with the computer, but a lot of people are not doing that at all. They're just using it as a standalone desk, in which case it functions the same as any other standalone desk. That's not an essential
no, I mean,
component of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
An accessory.
if we switch this off now or it crashed or something like that, the mix is working fine.
The
It's
desk will
everything
continue running
absolutely
exactly as it would do if it weren't plugged into anything.
It is a standalone desk that has the option of a remote control monitoring software for it. So as far as channels goes, the 1642 is 16 channels in 4 subgroups, and obviously stereo main out as well. Number of auxiliaries it has is 6, and these can be switched between post and pre on all 6.
They can be post and pre. There's also 2 modes of pre. One of the very few things you've got to go into the system menu for.
Yep.
But you can say to it that you want to take the auxiliary signal from after the high pass and the gate, but before the rest of the dynamics.
Okay.
Or you can say to it you want to take it from after the whole of the fat channel.
Yep.
There's a whole host of things like that they've thought out very carefully. There's graphic EQs as well. You've got 8 mono graphic EQs.
Yep.
Which, well, when we talk about the iPad thing, we can, they come up on that as well.
Yep.
Those can be assigned to the main, the auxiliaries. 2 onboard effects, I think I mentioned. What else have we got? Oh yeah, you can set delays on the sub. So if you're doing a PA situation where you need to send to speakers at the back of a venue, set a delay on there. You can set whether the gate is an expander or a noise gate individually on each pair.
Yep.
It's also got a lockout feature. So if you're setting this up in a venue or a studio and you want to make sure people don't come and fiddle with it, you can lock out either the whole desk or just the faders, just the master, just the auxiliaries, just the scene recall so that somebody doesn't overwrite something you've spent a lot of time saving.
Yep.
Graphic EQ there, and as you see, again, these LEDs are truly multifunction.
Yes.
And in this case, they then become a representation of, and as you can see, it's being mirrored on the
so if we switch back to the computer feed, you'll see that as the graphic
31
EQ
band
is,
graphic EQ.
everything is literally represented on the computer as well. So, but as you say, you don't need the computer to do the graphic EQ. Everything is on here. And am I right in saying it's got graphic EQ obviously on the subgroups and the main
subs
out,
or the main or the auxiliaries.
and you can put a separate. You've got a separate graphic EQ for each of the auxiliaries.
I mean, one of the main pieces of feedback we get is that the sheer number of features, the things it can do for the price, which is pretty unusual. Yeah,
I mean, I've been playing around with it, and it seems to. You think, oh, I wish it would do that, and then you look at it and think, oh, hold on, it does. We're just going to take a quick 20-second break. Have a quick look at this from AJA, and then we'll be right back with Chaz going over some more features of the Presonus range. I do quite a bit of live streaming, and I did a gig yesterday. We were streaming live, and just to be able to put EQ compression onto one of the subs, which was going to one of the machines was streaming out. I could compress the signal to there. It didn't affect anything else that was going out live at the time. I could.
Yeah, no, it's very configurable, very versatile.
Yeah. So one of the other, say it's not unique, but one of the other benefits of getting a mixer by Presonus is you get a piece of software. If I switch off the feed from my laptop and try and see if we can switch it over to my iPad, switch on mirroring, we get a piece of software on the iPad which basically allows us to wander around.
Yeah. Now, we've had a lot of people who've bought this, bought the mixer purely for this.
Yeah.
And yes, you can set everything up. You can then wander around the venue, and you have complete control over, well, not over every feature, but pretty much every relevant feature of the mixer. If you need to set balances and so forth from where the audience is going to sit, or if you want to set an auxiliary mix, standing in front of the floor wedge, on stage, right, at the front of the venue rather than behind the desk.
Absolutely. And
total flexibility.
And so we can I mean, on here, obviously, I've just got that track playing again. You can see all the meter readings coming in. These are, I believe it's currently set to the input level. You can change that. We can click on master, and if I wanted to, if I pull up here, you should be getting some music.
Indeed.
So it truly is. You can wander around, listen to the audio in the venue, and adjust things accordingly if you needed to. Especially if you're having, you've got this each of the subs here, and you're going to an area that particular subgroup is managing. You can just fiddle around with that particular.
Be there hearing it.
Yeah.
Otherwise you've got to rely on somebody else going out there and shouting back what they think.
Absolutely.
And as well as the overview, you've got a detailed view.
Yes. So if I turn that into portrait mode, so what we can see is tracks down the side, subgroups, the auxiliaries. We can select these, and as we select them, we can see the sends to the aux. So we've got some effects A, effects B sending on this particular one. The overall fader for that, and again all the EQ. Yeah. Everything all in one.
Fully draggable.
Yes.
So if you're out there miles away from the desk and you hear something a bit unpleasant on one channel, you just fix it there and then. So the convenience of that is just superb.
Yeah. Again, I use this yesterday, and to be able to walk around, just think, actually it needs to be, we need to EQ the main mix slightly, and you can do everything from here without having to run backwards and forwards. Now this is the iPad app, which is obviously fairly impressive, and again it comes with there's the auxiliaries and all the graphic EQ. Again, everything's reflected. Yeah, you can even sort of draw your basic.
I know it's silly, but I love doing that.
And it also has a very good button here when you do that called flatten.
Yes, indeed.
Which means it won't sound horrendous. But again, if you've done an analysis of the room, and the software's showing you the basic curve, rather than go through individual one, you can literally draw your curve in if you wanted to. I'll switch it off here again. Draw your curve in, how it's sort of roughly, and then just go and tweak it without having to go through every individual one. And again, on the 1642, you can see it's 1 and 2, 3 and 4, which is auxiliary 1 and 2, auxiliary 3 and 4, and auxiliary 5 and 6. Now, as well as an iPad app, they also do an iPod, iPhone app, which called QMix. Tell us a little bit about QMix.
That's designed for the person who has an auxiliary mix coming to them. So they can alter the level of what they receive.
So this is the QMix here, and the idea of QMix is that
somebody who's receiving an auxiliary mix can alter for themselves what they're going to hear.
Gotcha.
So instead of the kind of situation where you've got everybody in the band saying, well, I want a bit more of this and a bit less of that, they can do it for themselves. And again, there's landscape and portrait modes. And in this mode, they have what they call the Wheel of Me.
Okay.
So again, when a band member says, well, I want more me, more of my vocals, more of my whatever, they keep turning that, and it gives them more and more. And for the situation where they've turned it up to...
they can't get themselves anymore.
To 10. Well, then what it does very sensibly is, if they turn the me on this side up to the top, it then, if they want more, it just starts turning the band down.
And I've switched to the aux one on the mixer, and you can see basically everything you're doing is being reflected.
This is it. Everything's all interlinked. So whether you alter something on the mixer, or the VSL software on the computer if it's connected to a computer, or the QMix or the iPad, it's all interlinked. And obviously the iPod and iPad stuff would work with the desk. I suppose actually, you'd still, one point to make is you've got to have the desk connected to a computer which has got a Wi-Fi or a network set up.
Yes, it's worth mentioning how the connectivity of this works. In order to get the iPad and the iPhone or iPod Touch app working, you need to be running the VSL software on a computer that's connected to the mixer.
And to some sort of router.
And to some sort of
router. Obviously it's on a local network basis.
So we've done here, in case we were on that one. So what we've done here is, we have this is the 1642 mixer. We have the Firewire cable going into this MacBook Pro here, which is running the VSL software, as you've seen. They are in turn, we have a little router here, Wi-Fi router. This is just an Airport Express. Ideally, what you want to be able to do is link your computer to the router via cable, and then everything else is wireless. Just gives you that little bit more security, knowing there's a cable between the router and the laptop. Doesn't need to be on the internet, though.
No.
It's just literally you need to create some kind of
local network.
Yeah. And then attach your iPad or attach your iPod Touch. I believe, how many is it up to? It's a fair number, isn't it? 10 or something
10,
like that. Yeah. Can be connected, as long as they're connected on the Wi-Fi, and obviously you want to protect your Wi-Fi, then they can control the software. And if I flick this back,
It's also worth saying though, all those apps are free.
And yeah, absolutely. I mean, you buy the mixer and you actually get...
Yes, the mixer's not free.
Yeah, you buy the mixer, but then all the software, including
else.
a version of their higher end
Yeah,
DAW.
Studio One Artist comes free.
Yeah. So everything you're seeing here is no additional cost other than the cost of a Wi-Fi router of some kind in order to get this done. So all the apps are free on the App Store, and the software comes with the mixer. What I thought was amazing was the speed at which things update. I mean, I don't know whether... Let's see if we can do it from here. I might actually do it on let me do it on the bigger one. If I go to Aux on here, and I go back to... Yep, we are moving. So if we switch over to the iPad view, so as you can see, I've got channel 1 is labelled John, and I can literally, so somebody could be walking around and things just change instantly. I mean, I'll change it on the computer and everybody's iPhone, iPod Touch is all updated with the channel names.
Yeah, it's very well written.
Yeah, and you know, you can be sending out just the fact that the meters themselves are very, a quick update. You can.
Yeah, I mean, they would have to be. I think there'd be no point in bringing out that it would be the first thing people criticise. I think if they brought out something that was a bit sluggish when you're dealing with things like metering and
So it is all very quick. You're not going to be sitting down listening to something and then adjusting something on the iPad and waiting a few seconds for it to work its way to the mixer. It literally is real time.
Yeah. Oh yeah, very much so.
So, I mean, you've probably guessed I quite like the Presonus range. I do have to confess I actually have bought one of these now. So for all the streaming we're doing, it works out so well. I'm still learning it. The beauty of it, though, is it is quick to learn. I mean, you don't need to be a seasoned sound engineer to use
not at
any
all.
of these boards.
No.
Certainly some other manufacturers, digital mixers, that have all those layers and levels and little graphics you've got to try and work out what's going on. It's a steep learning curve. But with this, especially if you've used an analog mixer before...
Yeah, this is it. Once you get your head around that basic idea that it's like a set of analog controls which apply to whichever channel you hit the select button on, and you get used to doing that, and the way, if I adjust this channel, as soon as I select another channel to adjust, it saves what I did to that channel, and I'm now adjusting, well, in this case, an auxiliary. Once you get used to that, there's not much else that is different to an analog mixer. They do very well with these in the States they call the house of worship market, where you have people who are not professional sound engineers and they just want to be able to record a service onto often capture, and they want some of the features, not all the deeper stuff perhaps, but there's thousands of people who immediately take to it, find it very easy to use, reliable, cheap.
And again, with the software controller, even in here, you can literally set everything up, save it out as one of the scenes, and restore it back. So if somebody has come in and fiddled around, you can go back to your scene.
Oh, absolutely.
Restore it back, and you're back to how you were.
And also, it's great for working on multiple projects. So if you move between venues, you just save the entire setup for venue A, and B and C and D and so on. And when you go back, load it all back in.
So. Obviously, I say I bought one, so I know how much these cost, but obviously people are going to start thinking that these are incredibly expensive, knowing other digital mixers. I mean, we're talking about a digital mixer with all the functionality it's got here, plus the remote control, the software, the recording, thousands and thousands and thousands of pounds. Clearly, Or?
Well, if you have a look online, you'll find they're well under £2,000.
Yep.
Which, given everything it does, if you go and find something else that'll do all that for that kind of money,
Well, this is it. When
you wouldn't be able to. And the 24 channel again is under £3,000.
Yeah.
And the little 16 channel baby one is close to £1,000.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's not a major investment.
And if you just think of all the outboard gear that you can sell on eBay to pay for it, you won't need it anymore.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say, think of all the outboard gear you would have to have, because this is something that I find amazing.
Yeah.
If you duplicated all this, all the compression and the
Yeah.
EQ and everything else, the cost of that, I don't know, tens of thousands.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just on the compressors and GEQs would
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
a 48U rack or
Well,
something
quite,
full of
yeah.
them. It'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Chaz, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We've obviously going to put your details up so they can talk
Yeah,
to you if
please
they
do.
need to about finding out where they can obviously acquire kit like this, and obviously all the other Presonus gear which you can supply if you need to. That's going to come up at, well, we're on that one. That's going to come up on the screen. Have a look. I love these. We're using them in the studio purely because of, in one unit, there's so much functionality there. And we can route things wherever we want to route them. We can control them remotely if we need to. If you have any questions about this range, send them in to live@broadcastshow.com, or if you want to, you can tweet us @broadcastshow. If we don't know the answer, Chaz will know the answer. We can find out for you. Or obviously, you can just contact Chaz direct on the links that will be displaying on screen. In the meantime, that's it for this episode 2 of Broadcast Show. Next week we'll have something else. I don't know what yet, but keep an eye on all the feeds. Make sure you subscribe to iTunes feed or the YouTube feed, or you can see us at broadcastshow.com/live page. Every week something's going to come out, and then I believe the next live show is the 18th of July at 8 p.m. Be there. The last one was something else to behold, I can tell you that. Next one will be even better. We look forward to seeing you on the next Broadcast Show.